Welcome to today's new series on Shakespeare, except this is not about his life, this is actually just going to be about his sonnets. Oh, and there is a finger over there. Who cares? It's a finger! So let's get this started with the sonnets. Now, first of all, it'll probably take us 6 months to actually do all this because there's 154 sonnets there, and if I do one every day, no, it's going to take months. So let's start off right into this. Sonnet number 1. Keep in mind here, this is actually the first one, and this is probably not the very first one written. It was probably written after sonnets number 17 and other sonnets were written too. So this is like a prequel. You know, like those stories where they write it and then they write books that happen before the main events from the original series. Well, this is probably a prequel, except we don't know. But personally, I'm here for the sonnet and I don't care about the history. Let's start this off. First off, let's read it out. Recitation starting in 3, 2, 1. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die, but as the riper should by time decease, his tender air might bear his memory. But thou contracted to thine own bright eyes, feedest thy light flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies. Thyself thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel, so that art now the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to the gaudy spring. Within thine own bud buriest thy content, and tender churls makest waste in niggarding. Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee. So what does this mean? First off, I actually want you guys to actually look at the syllables here. Now, this is an iambic pentameter, where it's like 5 to 5. So technically, each line has 10 syllables, like this. Let me switch colors real quick. Right here. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decease, his tender air might bear his memory. But thou contracted to thine own bright eyes, feedest thy light flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies. Thyself thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel, so that art now the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to the gaudy spring. Within thy own bud bury is thy content, and tender churl makes waste in niggarding. Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee. So you can already see that each line has 10, so technically we have 140 syllables here, maximum. And that's actually kind of a big rule here too. Also, we get this A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G structure, sort of, as we find in Shakespeare sonnets too. Here's the thing. First off, if we go for the A, B, A, B, A, B, then we'll probably find the first rhyming word pretty fast, like increase. Let me just change that real quick. You get increase and decrease. You get, let me switch colors. Die, and you also get die and air and bear. You also have, let me switch colors again. Eyes with lies. Fuel with cruel. Ornament with content. End. You see the end here. A lot of colors. Niggarding with spring. And B with Z. So these are all the words that actually come in here too. And these are all the A, B, and A, B structures. So also, if you actually keep in mind that this was written in like Shakespearean times, which is like 16th, 17th century, that'll actually kind of remind you that some of these pronunciations are a bit different. Like fairest and, oh my goodness sake, fairest and desire were probably said differently back then. So like fairest and desire. Fairest and the fairest and desire, which actually kind of sounds similar too. So that's basically how it was told in the old times too. And to be honest, we have a lot here too, like air and bear. We have lies and die and eyes. We have fuel and cruel. All those actually start rhyming, and they're actually pretty great too. Also, this is also for the first sonnet in the collection of the first 17 sonnets of Shakespeare, where it's about like marriage and the young men and young adult sonnets, apparently, because they're all about marriage. This one, they're all talking to boys, but here it doesn't really reference the boy directly. Here, it just tells the boy, that we're just assuming there's a boy, it's being told to a boy that he should marry because it's his duty. You should do his duty, where if you don't do your duty by like getting a family and making kids, then you die twice. The first one, which is inevitable, is you die by the grave, which everyone will die. But the second one is where you die in like DNA wise, which technically I feel like Shakespeare knew, like somehow time traveling to the future and read the selfish gene, and he came back to the past and wrote a sonnet based on it, which kind of sounds weird. But to be honest, I can't help but notice that this is similar to the selfish gene. Where this one you can prevent by having a child with your same genes and looking like you, so that you will never be forgotten, at least looking wise and gene wise. That's about it. As I've already mentioned, I can't help notice, I'm going to say it again because it's so funny, that I feel like Shakespeare used a time machine to go into the future, read Richard Dawkins' The Selfish Gene, and write a sonnet with this in the past, which is counterintuitive, I know, but I just can't help noticing that this has a concept of the selfish gene in it. And this is just sonnet 1. Imagine how all these sonnets are all going to be. And so this is the end of today's first video in the series of 154 videos. Like idioms again. So yeah, that's about it. So hopefully you guys actually did enjoy this episode. I really hope you guys did enjoy it. And so until next time, Sean out, peace. Bye. Sean out. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decease. His tender air might bear his memory, but thou contracted to thine own bright eyes, feasts thy light flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies. Thyself thy foe to thy sweet self too cruel, so that art now the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to the gaudy spring. Within thine own bud buryest thy content, and tender churl markst waste in diggarding. Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decease, his tender air might bear his memory. But thou contracted to thine own bright eyes, feast thy light's flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies. Thyself thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel, that art not the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to the gaudy spring. Within thine own bud buries thy content, and tender churl maxed waste in diggarding. Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee. The end. Bye.